You're listening to the Intuitive Souls podcast. I am your host, Sarah Caruso, and this podcast is designed to educate, inspire, and enlighten. Let's wake up together. Hello, guys, and welcome to the Intuitive Souls podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm super excited that the universe led you here. If you are an OG and you keep on coming back and writing these amazing reviews and sending me DMs on Instagram and just keep on coming back. You guys are so awesome, and I truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate every single one of you guys. It's like a little bittersweet kind of show today because yesterday, was the 1 year anniversary of the Intuitive Souls podcast. So 1 year ago, I launched the first episode with my friend Christine Souza, who is a wellness advocate with doTERRA essential oils, and oh my gosh, you guys, it is just so bittersweet, and I can't believe how far this podcast and my business has come since launching this show. I'm sure you guys can feel the smile plastered on my face right now because I am just so humbled and so appreciative and so happy that you guys are liking this podcast and you keep on coming back and you keep on telling your friends about it, because this is exactly what I wanted this podcast to be. I wanted to spread the word. I wanted to talk to people that have the same ideas and the same beliefs as I do, and you guys are making my dreams come true. So thank you guys so much for always tuning in and just for your kind words and for reaching out to me. You guys are just awesome. Seriously, each and every one of you. I am so happy that this is getting to the ears that need to listen to it. So in today's episode, I just kind of want to go and reminisce maybe or talk about my experience as a podcaster and some of the tips and tricks that I have learned along the way, because something's telling me that there are people listening that might be thinking about starting their own podcast, and I am all for it because someone out there needs your light. And this podcast and any sort of podcast or a YouTube channel or whatever, if you're using this kind of media or social media or whatever the case may be, internet stuff, to get your story out there, to speak your truth, to help other people, I am all for it. So in this podcast episode, I'm going to give you 5 tips that I have either learned the hard way or, just experienced as a podcaster, as someone who, took a leap of faith and started a podcast with absolutely no following, absolutely no platform, just starting it because I knew intuitively and in my heart that I could reach people that can vibe with me and that can listen to my story and take everything out of the show and bring it into their own life and create happiness and balance and harmony. So the first thing I want to talk about, and this is really super important. Number 1, if you are thinking about starting your own podcast, do not, I repeat, do not go and buy a $70, $80, $100 course on how to podcast. That is absolutely ridiculous, and it makes me cringe seeing people selling these $150 courses to teach you how to podcast. You do not need to spend that outrageous amount of money to learn how to podcast. Do you guys want to know how I literally started this podcast? No joke. I went to my 5-gallon Crystal Rock water bottle that I fill with coins. I dumped it on my coffee table, and I used that money for my first subscription with Libsyn, my microphone, and yeah, that was basically it. and I'm sorry, a $9.99 course on Udemy on how to start a podcast. So that's really all you need. You do not need to buy a $150, $80. If it's more than $20, don't buy it, okay? What you need to do is you need to head on over to ericarusso.co. Yes, it's only C-O, not C-O-M. It was taken, unfortunately. So head on over to my website and go to my blog about 5 things you need to know about starting a podcast or something like that. And I have a link in there to the exact course that I used to get my podcast up and running. It's excellent. I highly, highly recommend it. You get a lot of value. This guy, the instructor of the course, knows what he's talking about. He does this for a living. So guys, it was literally like $9.99. I don't think that it will ever go higher than $20. So it is definitely worth checking into, because if I had the time, I would make my own $9.99 course, because I hate seeing people waste their money on these outrageous priced podcast courses. So go ahead and do that. Again, just go to my blog. His info is there. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put it in the show notes as well for you, make it easier. So that's number 1. Number 2 is be creative with your shows and with your content. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten an idea and I just went for it, and maybe I found a guest that was, a special, maybe an expert in that area. And those are the shows that get the most value out of it. So there was one show I want to talk about where I wanted to do a crystal award show with someone who is a crystal junkie like myself. And I had this great idea about it. I don't think any other podcast ever thought about it. So I went and I found Michael Sclafani, who is amazing. He is the Crystal Queer. He is in Arizona, I believe. You definitely want to check him out on Facebook. He is all the good vibes and he's amazing. And we got together and we just spoke about some of the best crystals that we like. And I can't tell you how many DMs that I get that are like, oh my God, I used apatholite or I used rose quartz and it was amazing and stuff like that. Be creative with your content, guys. This is your platform to speak your truth. This is not, you do not have to do anything that someone else is doing. If someone is doing a episode on manifesting, or someone is doing an episode on inner child work or whatever, yeah, those are great topics. But if you have a really cute and fun and exciting idea, do it. Do it. This is the place to do it. So number 2 is be creative. Number 3 is don't look at your downloads, especially within the first year. Do not look at your downloads. I beg of you. It takes time, just like anything. If you are building a business, if you're building a spiritual business, or any sort of business, it takes time, okay? You're going to freak yourself out, because the downloads are going to come and go. They will grow, obviously. They will grow, but they're going to grow within their own time and pace. So we have to just kind of let the universe take its toll. You're going to see within the year that, there are some months where it's a little lower, some months where it's great. Some months are like, whoa, what happened? It's okay. You know what I mean? You have to remember, like, if you're a podcast listener yourself, like, when do you actually go and listen to podcasts? Because for me, it's like, if I'm on a long drive, I'll just go through all of my podcasts from the last month or two. And it might be November and I'm listening to an episode from January, or I'm listening to an episode from July. So don't freak out about that. You guys are going to create your following in its time. Don't freak out over the downloads. Number 4. And this is something I really want to, this is important, guys. It's to make a plan. So what I mean by that is you want to pick a day every single week, whatever the case may be. If you're going to do a monthly podcast, bi-weekly, weekly, daily podcast, go girl. If you're going to do a daily podcast, because that's a lot of work. You want to pick a day, you want to pick a time, and be consistent with it. So I do know a good day to launch a podcast is on Tuesdays for some reason. I don't know why. It just that's kind of what everyone says in the podcasting world. So every Tuesday at 5 a.m., launch a podcast. You can schedule all your podcasts and batch them ahead of time, which is amazing, which I do for the most part. So you definitely want to be consistent. That is the number 5 thing. So I'm basically going into number 5 right now, which is consistency is key. I can't tell you how many times where I have found a wonderful podcast and it only comes maybe every 2 weeks, maybe every month. There's no set day or plan with it, and I kind of lose interest, not gonna lie, because I am a huge podcast nerd. I listen to so many podcasts, and the best podcasts with the best traffic, with the best downloads are the ones that are consistent. So if you are thinking about doing this, you need to set the intention, you need to create a schedule, and you need to abide by it. We all want to speak our voice or something. We all want to speak our voice and we all want to help people. But at the end of the day, consistency is king. So definitely be consistent with it. The rewards will definitely come. And that's really it for my tips right now. You guys, I just can't believe that it's been a year. I am so excited for what's to come in 2020, for the podcast, for my business, for life. I'm just super excited. I am so super excited that you guys are along the ride with me because I keep you, speaking of keeping you informed, of course I get a phone call during my taping. Sorry guys, but I am just so humbled and so grateful for each and every one of you. And I know I say this in every show, but I truly mean it. So you guys, it's always a pleasure. And, you guys are just awesome. I love each and every one of you. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving if you are in the US, because I know that Canada has their Thanksgiving in October, which is pretty cool. But anyways, you guys, it's been a wonderful time. I will see you next week. And yeah, have a great week.